Hello and welcome to Access UTV. My name's Michelle Edhouse and today I'd like to talk to you about self-worth. Now, self-worth is something that is spoken a lot about with regards to whether or not we consider ourselves to be as good as or less than or the same as someone else. Now, what's required to consider yourself less than or more than or the same as someone else? A huge amount of judgment. Now, if you had no judgment of you or anyone else, would there be such a thing as self-worth? Or would you go look at, okay, what's required here? What can I create here? What can I choose here? And what would it take to receive everything that I desire? So everything that's brought up for all of you, will you be willing to destroy and uncreate all that, please? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, boys, shorts and beyonds. For those of you that are new to my channel, that was the weird, wacky and wonderful Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. You can find out a full description of it at theclearingstatement.com. But just for short, it's like your magic wand. When I said all that stuff, all the energy that bubbled up and all the points of view that showed up, all the places and spaces that you were using to limit you, to contract you, to define you, showed up. And when I asked, would you destroy and uncreate that, you made a choice of some of it, not a lot of it, maybe that little tiny bit, and whatever you chose to let go of, to destroy and uncreate, the clearing statement just pushed out of existence. Now, there's no right or wrong with regards to how much you're choosing to let go of. And have a look at those things that are left behind. Are they creating the reality you desire to create? Are you now looking at yourself in the mirror and going, you rock, you're awesome? Or are you still looking in the mirror going, oh, you're a bit of a waste of space, aren't you? Oh, I don't see why anybody would pay you to do what you think you should be paid for. So, if any of that's still in existence, which for a lot of us it will be, what if you were to start looking at all the places and spaces that trigger that to show up? Maybe it's around a certain person and you start going, oh, well, I'm not as good as them, or oh, well, I haven't met their expectations, or when you notice that occur, would you be willing to go, wow, everything that is, POC and POD? Because POC and POD is the short version of that long clearing statement that I said, and it's a lot easier to remember when you're first learning it. So when you notice something showing up, when you notice someone's triggering you, when you notice you have points of view about your self-worth, would you be willing to look at it and go, wow, interesting. Everything that is, I destroy and uncreate it. POC and POD, POC and POD, POC and POD. And if it helps to remember the POC and POD, you can pretend you're a chicken. POC, POD, POC, POD, POC, POD. What if this change and creating greater doesn't have to be serious? Okay, and now we must look at the points of view with regards to... What if it could be fun? What if you could just inject a little bit of fun into everything you do? Would that increase your self-worth? Maybe. The other thing I'd like you to look at with regards to self-worth is who or what are you judging yourself against? And who or what points of view do you hold as vital, valuable and real that keeps you from creating you? Wow, everything that is times a godzillion. We destroy and uncreate it, please. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine boys, shorts and beyonds. How many people have you bought their points of view as to what is valuable, who is valuable, what you need to be, do, say, have, create, generate to be valuable? And all of those points of view that you've bought from them, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate where you've bought them as real and true, and return them all to sender with consciousness attached? And what does that mean? What that means is they weren't yours in the first place. Somebody's going along going, would you like my point of view? Here's my point of view. And you go, oh yes, I have some of that. Okay. And then you've got this chunk of point of view that's not even yours, but you think it's yours. So you go, okay, this is my point of view. This is my point of view. This is my... Actually, it still belongs to them. No matter how much you paid for it, no matter how well they sold it to you, it still actually belongs to them. And it only can control you as long as you buy it as your point of view. And if you're buying it as your point of view, you can't change it. You can only change the points of view that are yours. So, to get rid of something that you've bought off someone else, you destroy and uncreate everywhere you've bought it as yours, and then give it back. Return it to sender with consciousness attached. And return to sender with consciousness attached just means that if they're choosing to change it, they get to know how to do that. If they're not choosing to change it, that's their stuff, choice. But if you're choosing to change it, you've got to give it back. You've got to give it back with no point of view that it's still yours. Does that make sense? Cool. So, how many points of view have you bought from others that aren't yours, that keep you from having the ease, joy and glory life you know is possible? And everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy and uncreate where you bought it as yours and return it all to sender with consciousness attached. Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine boys, shorts and beyonds. So if you were being you, would you put yourself down? If you were being you, would you give a toss about what other people think of you? If you were being you, would you just go out there, be you, and change the world? As Dr. Dane here says in his book, Being You, Changing the World. So everything that doesn't allow you to be you, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate that? Thank you. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine boys, shorts and beyonds. So self-worth is, that first word actually gives you real clarity. It's about self. It's your choice about what you're worth. So as long as you're continuing to choose to be worth less, then that's your choice. There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. There's no perfect amount of worth. But whatever you're choosing as your worth is your choice. And is now the time to choose to create your worth as great as you truly be. Thanks for joining me here at Access UTV. What else is possible beyond what you've been choosing so far? Cheers.